Have you or someone you know been charged with a crime in New Jersey and you've heard the term pre-indictment conference or pick date? Want to know what that's all about? I'm about to explain everything you need to know right now. Hi, I'm Daniel M. Rosenberg. I'm a criminal defense attorney and the founding partner of Rosenberg, Perry & Associates. It is also my personal goal and passion to provide information and education about the criminal justice system before people become involved and entrenched in the system. So what is a pre-indictment conference? Well, if you're charged in New Jersey with a crime, also referred to as a felony, you're going to receive 2 court dates. The first is your first appearance. We have a video explaining everything you need to know about that. Second is your pre-indictment conference. Well, the first thing we need to discuss is, what is an indictment? An indictment is a formal accusation that a person has committed a crime. An indictment is returned by a grand jury. A grand jury is 23 individuals. The case is presented to the grand jury by the prosecution, and the only thing determined by the grand jury is whether or not there's probable cause to move forward with the charges. Not whether or not you did it, just probable cause, which is an extremely low standard. So long as 12 of those 23 grand jurors vote that there's probable cause, an indictment is returned. The right to a grand jury only applies to crimes in New Jersey, also referred to as felonies, which means that any crime in New Jersey that is punishable by over a year requires a grand jury indictment. So now that we know what an indictment is, what is a pre-indictment conference? A pre-indictment conference is a court date that is required to be scheduled after you've been charged with a crime. Prior to January of 2017, pre-indictment conferences were discretionary. After January of 2017, they are now required to be scheduled for anyone who's been charged with a crime. The point of the pre-indictment conference is to bring the parties together as quickly as possible in the hopes that there is a resolution. And the state is supposed to be providing the most favorable offer, the lowest possible offer, to entice litigants to resolve their cases. Defendants get the benefit of a more favorable plea. The state gets the benefit of utilizing less resources to prove their case. In practice, I got to tell you, this rarely happens. More often than not, you're not going to get your best offer at your pre-indictment conference. So now that you know what a pre-indictment conference is, how do pre-indictment conferences work throughout the state of New Jersey? Well, that really is going to depend on what county you're charged, because every county handles it just a little bit differently. There are some counties where you have a pre-indictment conference and there's a realistic expectation that you're going to be able to talk to the prosecutor, review discovery, and have an informed decision, and potentially resolve your case. There's other counties where you can't even get the prosecutors to answer the phone. In fact, when you go to your pre-indictment conference, you're not talking to the prosecutors handling your case. You're talking to a prosecutor who's handling the case that day for some other attorney. And they oftentimes have no idea what the case is about. And the offer that's extended to you is not your best offer. So now that you know what a pre-indictment conference is and a little bit about how they work throughout New Jersey, let us tell you a little bit about how we handle our pre-indictment conferences for our clients. Well, that answer is going to depend on what county you're charged in, what prosecutor's handling your case, what judge you're in front of, the facts of your case, and a host of other factors. The short answer is there's no one size fits all. Everything is custom fit to your case, your circumstance. I'll give you an example. We had a client who was charged with possession with intent to distribute heroin, and the offer at the pick date was absurd. It was clear that they hadn't reviewed the file, hadn't put any time, energy, and effort into contemplating a realistic offer, and so we advised our client to reject the offer. That decision to reject the offer was not based solely on the offer and the circumstances of the case, but also the assistant prosecutor we were talking to. We also considered that assistant prosecutor's supervisor. We wanted to factor in, what's the supervisor going to tell that prosecutor to do once we reject the offer? We also considered the county, the types of cases that county handles, and the volume of cases that county handles. Specifically, we elected not to follow up with the prosecutor. We kept this off the prosecutor's radar in the hopes that this case would get old and stale and less desirable to prosecute. Ultimately, months later, charges were downgraded. We resolved the case without any need for a felony conviction, and our client was grateful for it. That's just one of many ways we handle pre-indictment conferences, and it is custom fit to every client that we represent. So if you, a friend, or family member has been charged with a crime or felony here in New Jersey, contact our office. We can help. We'll schedule a time to meet with you, go over all of the facts and circumstances of your case, and put you in the best position for the best possible result. So if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And if there's a topic you'd like to learn more about, please leave a comment below or contact our office. We are criminal trial attorneys. We have your back. That's what we do.